Hello everyone, JH Medium here, and today we are in Istanbul.
After 6 years away, I am finally back on the European continent, in the city that is the gateway between Asia and Europe. On this trip, of course, we will try for the first time some delicious Turkish food and visit the grand mosques. But we'll also go on some slightly less touristy excursions to try and find some hidden gems in this magnificent historical city. But since we landed Istanbul at 7 a.m. after a 13-hour flight, first we must go eat some breakfast. Please excuse my sleepiness. This is menemen, a tomato and egg dish. When we first got the dish, I'm sorry, but it did not look appetizing at all. But anyways, let's try it. Tear off some of the bread and dip it in the menemen. Okay, I am completely wrong. Menemen is so delicious. It's fluffy, soft. It has that umami from the tomato and the sausage mixed with the perfectly cooked eggs. Don't think of it as scrambled eggs, think of it as a sauce. And I think this might be my absolute favorite way to eat eggs now. We also got another popular dip, honey and cream. This one might be a little too sweet for my liking. The cream is delicious, but I could go without the honey. And of course, no Turkish meal is complete without a cup of chai. After a break in the afternoon, it's time to go explore some more. You can buy an Istanbul card to conveniently take public transport.
After a short rest at our hotel, we made it over to the Galata port by the Bosphorus.
The Bosphorus is the waterway connecting the Black Sea with the Sea of Marmara, which leads to the Mediterranean. As I look into the water, I am in awe. It's just the sheer scale of the city, the layers and layers of buildings, the ships navigating through the waterway, the thousands of seagulls, but somehow, even with this seemingly chaotic atmosphere, all I feel is peace. As the sun starts to set, we walked along the Bosphorus to the Karakoy neighborhood. This port looks out into the Golden Horn and the Eminönü waterfront. Even though the area is packed with people, maybe when you sit and look out into the magnificent scenery, all the busy, frantic energy goes away. We walked up onto the Galata Bridge just in time to see the sky turn gold. I think there's only one word to describe views like this: magic.
For the lack of a better word, Istanbul is just so cinematic. I don't even know which direction to point my camera. Over there, it looks incredible. Over there, it looks incredible.
With sight comes sound. You hear the sound of the call to prayer from mosques, the seagulls, the boat's horn, the gentle harbor waves. It's like they're all communicating a message far beyond my understanding. But they all come together to form the symphony that is this city's soundtrack. Thank you, Istanbul, for the most perfect welcome gift. And this is only day one of our one-week trip here. I hope the rest of this journey will be just as surreal.
After a beautiful sunset on the Galata Bridge, we're back near Taksim to have some kebab for dinner. We got a chicken kebab and the Adana kebab. I don't know what this is, but I'm excited to try both of these. Let's start with this.
Really tender chicken, a little bit spicy. The bread itself is a tad dry, but at least it's not soaked with sauce.
You can definitely taste the freshly grilled flavor. And now we're gonna try the Adana kebab. I think we're supposed to wrap all of these in the bread. We have some of the rice, some of the kebab itself. If this is the wrong way to eat it, please let me know in the comments below. Okay, I think this is a lamb kebab. I'm actually a little bit allergic to lamb, so I can't have too much of this.
Yeah, in hindsight, we probably should have asked what meat it is instead of just going with the waiter's suggestion. Hard to give an objective lamb review.
Overall, a pretty nice first kebab meal here in Istanbul. Unfortunately, we're both not that used to the lamb flavor, so next time we have to try the beef kebab.
Day 2 in Istanbul, and today we're gonna go to Sultanahmet to see the more touristy attractions in the city.
For our first stop today, we made it over to the Sultan Ahmed Mosque, also known as the Blue Mosque. It's an Ottoman-era mosque built here in what is currently known as the Faith neighborhood in Istanbul.
At first glance, this mosque isn't even that blue, but if you look closely, you can see the 20,000 blue handmade ceramic tiles decorating parts of the interior. These intricate details inside mosques never fail to impress me. Before we head to our next site, time for a snack.
All over the square, you'll find carts selling these circular pastries. It's called a simit. We got a Nutella simit. It's kind of like a bagel, I guess, but there's sesame seeds and different nuts all coated on the outside. Quite hard. Let's try it. Really, really firm texture. I don't think I'm a big fan of it, but I still think it's worth a try. Now we're gonna go visit the Hagia Sophia, which is arguably the most famous landmark in Sultanahmet and Istanbul. It used to be free, but starting in January 2024, it's now 25 euros. Let's see if it's worth it or not. This is probably the most expensive ticket we're gonna pay for on this Istanbul trip. Since the Hagia Sophia is now a mosque, Rika needs to cover her hair up. Much like how Istanbul's history has changed throughout the years, the purpose of the Hagia Sophia has also changed. It was originally built by the Byzantine Empire as an Eastern Orthodox church. That's why on the second floor of this building, you can actually see figures of Jesus Christ and Virgin Mary on the walls.
The Hagia Sophia was later a Catholic church, a mosque during the Ottoman control, and also a museum. Recently, it was converted back into a mosque, and all the symbols of Christianity visible from the prayer hall are now covered up. The Hagia Sophia reflects this great city's long and ever-changing history through religion, politics, and art. Maybe the only thing constant is the light shining through the windows, casting hope and wisdom to the people below.
We just finished visiting the Hagia Sophia Mosque. I think the rich history of this building and the stunning architecture makes this a must-visit place in Istanbul. The Hagia Sophia is actually partially closed for non-Muslim visitors, so we're only allowed to visit the second floor. Do come during a prayer session because it's definitely very intriguing to observe.
After a short visit in Sultanahmet, we decided to escape the busiest district and hike up a nearby hill.
We made our way to our third mosque of the day. This one is the Soleimani Mosque. Sorry if I pronounced that completely wrong.
Even though most of the mosques in Istanbul have a very similar design and silhouette, each still has its own unique patterns and features. There are also many dogs here just laying around. If you don't want to be stuck in a crowd at the Blue Mosque, the Soleimani Mosque is another great place to visit, and to check out the stunning panoramic view of the Golden Horn. Whenever the sky is clear in Istanbul, you have to go somewhere and watch the sunset. We walked over to the Golden Horn Metro Bridge, famous for having a metro station right in the middle of it. This concept is so unique, I've never seen anything like it before. Over there you can see the Salimani Mosque that we just visited, and on the other side, Karakoy and the Galata Tower. Right before the sun dips below the horizon, we made it over to the Karakoy Sahil Park to soak in the rest of the day's light.
Another day in Istanbul, and today we are in the Balat neighborhood. This neighborhood is famous for its colorful buildings and beautiful alleyways. But before that, we have to go have lunch first.
In Balat, all of the restaurants are selling this clay pot kebab, so this is the dish we're gonna try.
When they serve it to us, it's like a whole performance. It seems like they break a clay pot every time they serve this dish.
To be honest, I don't think that performance actually did anything to the food, but it looked cool. And this is what it looks like on the inside. Seems really tasty. There's some onions, peppers, mushrooms, and of course, chicken.
And we're gonna eat it with the rice.
This is amazing. I don't know what defines a kebab, but this dish reminds me of a stew or braised meat. I think the clay pot here acts like a pressure cooker, so the meat is piping hot and extra tender. The tomato makes a perfect sauce, and it's a little bit spicy too.
Excellent. And we also got their tomato and egg breakfast dish. Of course, you gotta eat it with a plate of bread. It actually looks slightly different from the one we had for breakfast the other day. This one is slightly more chunky.
Yup, this is still my new favorite way to eat eggs. Even though it's our second time having it, it's quite different. This one here has a lot more cheese instead of sausage, and visually it looks more like scrambled eggs. I just love this dish.
That was without a doubt the best meal we had in Istanbul so far. I really like the clay pot kebab. I think it's a lot easier to eat than the grilled kebab. For some reason, it feels like a lighter meal, even though the ingredients are quite similar. I also like how there's way more vegetables inside the clay pot kebab. I don't think we had too many vegetable dishes throughout these days here in Istanbul. It's all just meat. This is the perfect combination of the two. And the tomato egg breakfast dish, the Mimi Men, that was also really delicious. I like the chunkier one more than the smooth pasty one. It tastes more like you're eating tomato and egg rather than just like a jam. So yeah, excellent meal. Definitely worth a try when you're in the Palat area.
After lunch, it's time for a city walk. Balat was traditionally home to the Jewish and Greek community. Some of the colorful buildings here may even be over a century old. These roads are also very, very steep. Imagine living up there and having to do this climb every single day. Unfortunately, the weather today is quite hazy, so the colors here don't really pop. It seems like there are very few tourists here, mainly just locals going about their daily lives. Balat really is a cute hidden gem if you want an afternoon of peace and quiet away from the bustling city, and it's easily reachable by tram.
This morning we're here at Ortaköy. This is supposedly one of the better places to watch the sunrise in Istanbul. But as you can see, it's super cloudy. This is a mission completely failed.
Obviously, good weather is never guaranteed, but judging by how pretty this mosque and bridge looks in the dark, I bet a sunrise here will be spectacular. Anyways, let's go somewhere else to make up for this disappointment.
This morning we're here at a vintage flea market. It looks like there's a lot of these old secondhand goods and we're gonna go check them out. This market really feels like a living museum. Walking through it, you see artifacts and items from decades ago. Old books, old postcards, old toys. But there are also some newer collectible items in here as well. Unlike an ancient history museum, all the items here are like daily household items. So it really gives you like a perspective of what people actually owned decades ago here in Turkey. Before we leave the market, we gotta try some of their food. I don't know what this is called, but I'm gonna leave the name somewhere right here. Kind of reminds me of a quesadilla. We got it with cheese and spinach. It's all freshly made. You see these ladies rolling out the dough and then wrapping all the ingredients inside. It really looks absolutely delicious. This is probably the most vegetables we had in the past few days. They're really generous with the cheese and the spinach. Let's try.
That's really nice. It's basically only 3 ingredients, but it's savory and delicious. After catching up on some much needed sleep before noon, we're heading to the famous Istiklal Avenue. But first, a quick doner kebab for lunch. It's a pretty standard looking chicken durum. Let's see how it tastes. Juicy and tender, kebabs on Istiklal Avenue or Taksim Square are way overpriced. You go to the small streets nearby, you can find some cheap and delicious kebab shops that locals actually go to, just like this one. Istiklal Avenue is the Independence Avenue in Istanbul. It's pretty much a big shopping street. But the most special thing about it is the historical tram line that runs through it every half an hour. Unfortunately, it's always so crowded we didn't have a chance to take it. From here, you can also head over to the Galata Tower. But with our usual bad luck, of course it's under construction. At least that saves us a whopping 30 euros.
After walking down Istiklal Avenue a bit, we came across this dessert shop and just looking from the window, everything looks so good. So we have to stop and try some. I ordered a baklava, which is like a pistachio pie with a puff pastry skin on top. And Rika got a sütlaç, which is a rice pudding. We heard that Turkish desserts are super sweet. Even looking at this, you can see the syrup inside. As expected, it's ultra sweet. The puff pastry still has a really good flavor. There's a little bit of crunch from the pistachio, but yeah, the sweetness sort of overpowers everything. Half the portion size will be plenty already. Good that we have some tea to balance it all out. Now we're gonna try the rice pudding. I really like this.
It sort of tastes like a mixture between a creme brulee and a British rice pudding. There is that caramelized burnt skin on top. The whole dish is very soft and fluffy.
This is definitely the better dessert of the two.
It's our last night in the European side of Istanbul. And as the weather still looked great, of course, there is one last thing to do. In this city, perhaps the best activity is to watch the sunset over the water. We hopped on a random ferry at Karakoy and let the city do its spell. It's hard for me to describe Istanbul's sunset purely with words. Frankly, I'm not very good with words. Maybe it gives the feeling of time coming to a stop. In this moment, nothing matters except the awe-inspiring scenery in front of me. As stunning as it is, in reality, this is just another regular day. A small moment that will be lost in the long, glorious history of this magnificent city. And that's okay, because I'm still blessed to have the privilege to say I was here. Close my eyes and tomorrow is a brand new day here in Istanbul.